A big welcome to every one of you who are able to join us today for the second global webinar for Sonic. So for this global webinar, we will talk about everything you need to know about the new OasisNXT software and also the new RemoteLink 2 app, both of which are designed to work with our new Sonic A1 hearing instruments. So before we start this presentation, I would just like to introduce to you some more details about this webinar today. Just as a reminder, for those who cannot participate in the session, keep in mind the webinar will be recorded and we will be sending it all to you at the end of the day. Your video and microphones are muted, but feel free to type in any comments or questions in the chat box. So I will be the one in charge of the questions. I'll be in the background, and we will answer all of those questions at the end of the presentation. And for those who are more comfortable in their own language, there is actually a feature called Translate Slides that allow you to convert the presentation you see now into a language of your choice. So currently we have around 19 languages, including Portuguese, Turkish, Greek, Russian, etc. So if you see it here, then your language might be available. And in order to access this feature, you just need to click on the three dots right there. And once you click on that, click on Translate Slides, and then select the language that is available to you. So that is an option. You can still go back to the original English version if you want, but just so you know, it's available.
So a big welcome to everybody of you who have joined us to our webinar today. I see we are already 40 people. So it's really, really nice to see the continuous interest in the sonic hearing instruments. So what actually, yes, Mariel mentioned today, we would like to talk a bit more also about the Sonic A1 hearing instruments, but we have introduced the Sonic A1 technologies, the styles, all the new features in the last global webinar of last month. What we would like to focus on today is actually the two new fitting tools, which are also connected to Sonic. So which means we have a new fitting tool for the Sonic hearing aid fitters, the hearing care professional, audiologist, and there is a new tool for the hearing aid users if they would like to control their app. However, don't be scared. It sounds new. It will be new and exciting. However, for you, if you do already have experience with some hearing aids, there will actually not be much change. So the agenda of today is therefore, I will first make a short presentation about the new fitting platform. I will point out the new flow and a few things you have to know. Then we will look at the features which are specially implemented for a Sonic A1. Then I will also show you on a practical example how easy it actually is to fit Sonic A1 instrument. After the live demo, I will show you also the RemoteLink 2 app, highlight a few features which probably also you are familiar with, but then also point out those features in the end user app, which have been particularly developed for Sonic A1 instrument. So let's start. As you have already been informed, now Sonic A1 is integrated into the OasisNXT platform. As for ExpressFit Pro, it has been designed for very easy, fast, and trouble-free fitting sessions. We will find the same professional parameter and options where you have been used to with the previous sonic hearing aids. So you will see we have the same choices of options available on the new fitting platform. And there will be the new sonic rationale, which is called Fit NL. I will talk a little bit about it in a few moments. Now, how can you download Oasis Next? For the time being, it's not yet available on the Sonic website. We have sent out a newsletter in June, and in this newsletter, we have provided a link where you could download the software. You will also find the link in the end of this webinar, so Marielle will include it in the chat, and then you can download it from there. In case you do not get this link today or you don't have it from the past, then please contact us or contact your sales director, and they will be also able to provide you the link. What is a bit different now when downloading or when installing Oasis Next, you need to install an installation code. So when you are about installing Oasis Next, then it will ask you for a code. And this code you have now to type in right the way it is written here with the minus in between, and then we could make sure that it will download the correct software. This code only needs to be inserted once at the beginning. If there are further updates, it's not necessary to to edit this code. Okay. Now, once you have opened a customer, then you will have access to the Oasis Next menus. So you will see the fitting flow is really, really easy. It's very intuitive, just simply from the top to the end down, and then you are sure that you will not miss any feature, any menus. So there are no hidden menus. Everything is really clear and nicely structured. Let's have a closer look at the individual part of Oasis Next. So in the first menu group, the client, we will have the personal data, which is the audiogram, the languages. Then there is the audiogram area where also you can make in situ audiograms. Then there will be a new menu point I will mention in a moment. This is ACT. The personalization questionnaire is also available, which helps you to pre-adjust all the adaptive features in Sonic A1. Then the Relay data menu is available, where you can have the data in case you do some Relay measurements. And then in the hearing instrument overview, you will find the Sonic A1 instruments. If we have a look at the next menu section, then we see fitting. In fitting, we have the adaptation manager and then the fine-tuning amplification screen where you can fine-tune the individual bands and input levels. Of course, the fitting assistant is also available, which makes your life of fine-tuning Sonic A1 so much easier. Program assignment section is there, feedback manager, and then the REM menus where you can adjust some features before performing the REM fit measurement, frequency composition. In the previous software, it has been called frequency transfer. Now for Sonic, it is the frequency transfer feature has been renamed to frequency composition. And you will also find tinnitus sound support, which is also available for Sonic A1. Then the next section, we are already in the feature section. All the adaptive features are included in the feature section. We will find them on the program specific menu. There we will see for each listening program we have assigned access to the adaptive features. All the wireless accessory menus is also there. And we have access to the data login menu where we can also have some news for you. I will talk about a bit later. And last but not least, we do have the end session screen, basic controls, how you can activate volume control, program manager. We have all the indicators. We have the audible indicators, the visual indicators. Then there is the battery menu. And in the end, we have save and quit, where we do have a summary of all the features. So you will basically see just what is really new in this software is the fitting is done from top to down and not from first left to right and then top to down. So it's very, very easy and intuitive to understand. I mentioned to you that we do have a new fitting rationale. So the fitting rationale for Sonic is called Fit NL and Fit Comfort. So the fitting NL and fit comfort rationales are very, very similar to the previous rationale, Best Fit Fast SE and Best Fit Fast. They are based on the NAL NL1 and NAL NL2 standard formulas, but they are a bit softer in order to provide the right amount for power, the right amount for amplification for a first fit for clients which haven't used hearing instruments in the beginning. But you do have still the possibility to select any other rationale, null NL2, null NL1, or also DSL at all. But we recommend now, if you do have a first fit for Sonic A1, new customer, try out Fit NL. Now, what are the Sonic A1 features? This is actually what interests us most. In the hearing instrument section, you will now see them listed up. It will be Sonic A1 100 down to A1 40. We will see the style. The style is called MNR, mini right. It does not include a T anymore, but as we have explained in the first look webinar, also the Sonic A1 does have a telecoil. But it has been now so as a standard, therefore we do not need to point this out. You also see that the cross transmitter is available. So which means that the Sonic A1 can be used also with the existing cross transmitter. And then you see also all the features with Sonic A1 right instrument features. Now let's have a short look at the MiniFit Detect. I would like to summarize this brilliant concept of this new smart speaker system because it's really something which is unique in the world. It will detect automatically the level, the length, the serial number, and the left or right side. Whenever you connect it to the software, detection automatically happens. But you must be aware that now, when programming Sonic A1, you must connect the MiniFit Detect speakers to the instrument in order to be able to make a hearing aid fitting. If you would like to just simulate, then of course it's not necessary. But whenever you do a live fitting, the MiniFit Detect must be attached. There is an error mode, I will also talk about in a moment, to make sure that the speakers will not be mixed up, that the right side is fitted to the right side of the hearing instrument, and also an error mode which would indicate in case the speaker is faulty. And then this MiniFit Detect speaker have this world's first auto calibration method. So which means it would detect at any moment if the output of the speaker would have changed, and it would automatically adapt the output of a new speaker so that the hearing aid user always has identical sound. And all this auto calibration happens in 24 frequency bands. So it is really, really an exclusive and very exciting smart detector system. And in addition, also what we mentioned now, the MPO, the output, especially of the 60 speaker, of the small speaker, has also been increased, allowing clients for a higher hearing loss to still use a 60 speaker. Okay, now when we start detecting the hearing instruments, be aware that it must be programmed with the NoaLink wireless or the NoaLink or the NoaLink 2 wireless, so no cabled option available. The detection modus, it will select the hearing instruments, the right side or the left side, based on the speaker you have actually mounted. So it will automatically indicate which instrument is the right or which instrument is the left one. You can wait until continue, or you can click on them and continue automatically. If you would like to be sure that the right instrument is detected, you can also still simulate with the beep, and then you will hear if the right instrument is actually connected. Now, what happens if you would attach no receiver? So if you just connect the instrument, or if the receiver is not properly attached, maybe it is a bit loose, then actually a message will appear on one side where the instrument had not detected a speaker. You will see here this exclamation mark, and a message will actually pop up, no receiver attached. So to continue with this instrument, you must attach a receiver and try again. If there is no receiver attached, you cannot continue. In case you have not connected the receiver properly, I think it's recommended to quickly disconnect the receiver and then just connect it again to be sure that it's really properly connected. In case you would attach a different length of the speaker, maybe the client is a bit tight and he would like to have a bit larger speaker, then also information would pop up. An information bar would pop up that the receiver length has been changed. So this is only an information to alert you that you are aware that the length is not, excuse me, according to the first fitting. You can ignore this message, and then if you proceed with continue, you can fit the hearing instrument in the normal way. A bit different it is in case there is a mismatch of the receiver. In case you have swapped the left speaker on the right hearing instrument or vice versa, or in case you have first fit the 85 speaker and then by any mistake you add a 100 speaker, then the procedure is a bit different. There will be two alerts if there is a mismatch of the receiver. First, actually, the hearing instrument itself, it will emit an alert. So the LED on the hearing instruments will start blinking 4 times orange. And this cycle of 4 times will be repeated again 4 times. So basically, it will be 16 times. If you ignore it and just would like still to continue, then also a message will pop up. In this example, the instrument was previously fit on the other side. So it is still possible that you can actually continue in case the mismatch has not been justified, or in case you really had to change to a different speaker. So you can actually ignore the message and continue, but of course it gives you the opportunity to verify, is it really the right speaker which I have mounted. The the MiniFit Detect speaker also has this error mode. Now, in case the speaker would be faulty, the instrument would behave identical. You would also have this 16 orange blinks, and then another message would pop up, faulty speaker. So even with this message, you could actually continue with the fitting. But if the speaker is really faulty, so the instrument would detect if the speaker is really faulty, then you cannot continue until you have exchanged the speaker. So these are all these different alerts, which are really, really useful and really also supporting the hearing care professional to avoid any mismatch and to secure, yes, that the client always has the same identical sound. Okay. Another new opportunity is now we can fit Sonic A1 while it still is in the charger. So this is an additional flexibility for the hearing care professional, which means they can actually program or update the hearing aid firmware without if they have not enough power. So it's really, really nice to have this option as well. If you um, want to program the hearing instrument and it is still in the charger, then also a message will appear. You can continue with the session and instrument, but some tools are not available. So it wants to indicate that some tools like, of course, in situ audiometry, feedback manager, all the tools where the client has to wear the hearing instruments, they are not available. In addition, you will see that the hearing instrument will pop up, and instead of indicating the battery capacity or the battery charge, you will see that the instrument is still charging. So this confirms that the instrument is still in the charging. If you do charge the instrument while fitting and then you would like to take it out of the charger, please consider that it may take maybe half a minute until the instrument is reset and is ready for the customer. Now let's have a look at the specific Sonic A1 features. We find these in the program specific section. Of course, the big highlight of Sonic A1 is the motion sensor. So the motion sensor recognizes head and body movements, and it uses this information to adjust the dynamic directionality and the smart noise reduction to optimize speech understanding in all kinds of listening situations when the client is focusing on an individual person, or when the client is in motion, or when he is on the go. We talked about the motion sensor a bit more detailed in the last webinar. So the motion sensor is always active as a default. The motion sensor has an impact in two programs, in the dynamic everyday program and in the conversation in noise program. However, the motion sensor is only activated in the conversation in noise program unless the dynamic directionality and the dynamic noise reduction is active. In case the directionality or noise reduction would be deactivated, of course, also the motion sensor is unable to work. But besides the motion sensor, I would also like to quickly recap the other features which we see in Sonic A1. We do have the directionality, we do have the states, we do have the smart noise reduction, we do have the noise balancer and the speech balancer, and we do have the wind noise and the contact noise reduction. I think it's important that we do have a close look or a short look at these features because some of them have received a new name. Now they are used with Sonic A1 compared to the features we had in Radiant and in Radiant SE. So first of all, we will find the directionality preference. With the directionality preference, we can select the dynamic and directionality. So we recommend always use dynamic directionality to get the full benefit of the smart noise management features. Of course, also of the smart sensor, otherwise the smart sensor would be disabled. Then second, we do have the directionality states. The directionality states actually select the strength of the directionality, how much noise can be attenuated. We have available low, medium, and high. If it is high, then we do have the maximum attenuation of noise and the highest signal to noise ratio, which means the best speech understanding in noise. Then we do have an omni preference, which means we can select an option how the instrument should behave in situations without noise. There we do have either omnidirectional for maximum sensitivity of sound in all directions, or we do have the PINA model. The PINA model allows a bit more more sensitivity to the higher frequencies towards the front. So it imitates actually the PINA effect, and the achievement is that we have 1.4 decibel improvement of signal to noise ratio, which means bit better speech understanding. Then we do have transition. In the previous product, the transition was called engage. Now for Sonic A1, it's called transition. The transition determines at which environmental noise level and signal to noise ratio the smart noise management is activated. We have different states. We have low, medium, high, and very high. If it is very high, then it has highest attenuation of noise. It means ideal for clients which are very, very sensitive to noise, which means smart noise management will already start working if there is a low level of noise. And low would be rather for clients which are used to noise, which are a bit less sensitive to noise, which means that the smart noise management will start at a bit higher level of background noise. Then we do have the speech balancer. Also in the previous software for the previous product, speech balancer was actually called speech optimizer, but it is still the same idea. It can boost frequencies between 1.5 and 5 kilohertz in speech and noise environments to give an additional boost of these frequencies and enable allow the patient to understand the speech a bit better. We have three settings. High would be plus 5 decibels, medium plus 3, and low plus 1. And then we do have the noise balancer, which is actually the opposite. It was called for Radiant SE, it was called noise minimizer, but also again, the same idea has been taken over to the Sonic A1. It does reduce amplification in environments with noise actually only. So there is a mistake. It is where noise is, when speech is not detected. This is actually an error I just see. So it helps actually to reduce amplification, -3, -2, or -1 dB. And feature which we have introduced also for Radiant SE. Of course, we wanted to have these fantastic features in Sonic A1. It is the wind and contact noise protector, which is either on or off. As a default, it will be off. So it improves speech understanding in wind noise and in contact with the hearing instruments to make sure that even in windy situations, or if the client is touching his hearing instruments, that speech understanding is not impacted. And last but not least, the new transient noise reduction, which has been called formerly transient noise reduction, impulse noise reduction pro, excuse me, which also now has been enhanced for Radiant SC. It does reduce loud, medium, and soft transient noises in 24 frequency bands, and it can reduce these noises up to 30 decibels. So you see, beside the motion sensor, we still have this very, very attractive package of adaptive features for Sonic A1. Another important part I would like to mention is that Sonic A1, it has only one push button. So if a client has only one hearing instrument with a monaural fitting, then there are some limitations how much he can handle or how much he can change with the push button on the instrument. So it means for a monaural Sonic A1 fitting, is still the program change is still available, and the shutdown is also still available, but there is no possibility to adjust the volume. So which means if a client has a monaural fitting and he would love to have access to modify the volume on his hearing instrument, then of course he can do this very conveniently with the new RemoteLink app. And we know today the app has been so easy for the hearing aid customers that it's part of their fitting solution. Just a small change to also the previous software is that one feature has been renamed to make it a bit clear. Before we had this flight mode program, and it was actually not only a flight mode program, it just disconnected connectivity in any moment, not only in the airplane. So now we will see in the indicators, instead of the flight mode, we will have Bluetooth on or off, which is very, very easy to understand. And everyone knows what happens when this switch or when this beep is alerted. Just for your reminder, again, if we look at the battery menu, so the Sonic A1 has a non-changeable, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. So you will see in the battery menu, it will still indicate you the charge, it will indicate you the state of the battery, but the hearing care professional cannot change it himself. So if the battery has run out, it must be changed, then the hearing care professional must either send it to the local lab or to the lab of the Sonic group so that the battery can be changed. Then data logging also has one very, very nice additional feature, which is very, very useful to understand how often the hearing aid user has actually worn the hearing instrument. There is a new wearing time counter. So now we will see in the statistics, there will be a normal average on time. This we already know. And very often we also got the message that the hearing instrument, it was actually on for a very long time, but the client has not really used it. So it's not a very reliable source of information. Now, there is actually also the average wearing time. So the average wearing time really indicates how long the client has worn the instrument on the ear. And this is actually a great new also achievement, which is now possible with the new technology, which we have in Sonic A1 with this um, technology, which is also used for the motion sensor, which can track the head and body movement. So it's actually now much, much easier to really see, yes, the hearing instrument has been movement, so it has actually been worn. Another feature which we have also introduced, especially now for Sonic A1, is the low frequency enhancer has been optimized. The low frequency enhancer is very, very useful while the customer is streaming. When he is streaming to his smartphone, when he is listening to music, when he is streaming to the DVA. In this low frequency enhancer, if the client has an open fitting, then the low frequency would escape through the open ventilation in the dome, and the client would have a very thin sound and almost no bass tone. And now with this low frequency enhancer, it has always been the idea that we can compensate for this loss of low frequency and give a boost in those frequencies which are likely to escape. The low frequency enhancer, this optimization or this boost is very, very useful for open fitting. So the more open fitting, the more useful is this enhancer. But what is now different in the optimization? In the past, the low frequency enhancer could only compensate frequencies up to 125 hertz, which was really, really low frequency. And now it has been enhanced to 625 hertz when streaming. If we just look at this overview, you will also receive it and can study it a bit more detailed. What we see here is the different frequencies between 125 to the highest frequency range. What is in normal writing is the previous setting, and in bold we would have the new setting. So what immediately attracts our attention is that we see now the previous setting, none of the instruments had any compensation in frequencies above 250. So we see this is only possible with the new setting. So the high setting, we can see we would have up to 12 decibel boost in the very low frequency. In the medium setting, we still have 9 decibels, and in the low setting, we have 6 decibels. And as we say, gradually a bit less. The higher the frequency, the bit less is the compensation. But this certainly can make a difference for people with an open fitting, loving to stream sounds with their hearing instruments. Now let me quickly talk about ACT. We will see in the client module a new menu which is called ACT. ACT is a feature which is actually not only Sonic related, it is a feature which is available in the demand group. ACT is a test which helps to quantify how well or how sensitive is your customer to noise, how much support would he need with the adaptive features in OasisNXT. It is a test which is performed by specific diagnostic equipment, so you would need to have affinity or a GSI metrics equipment in order to perform this special test. and the test actually is performed very similar to an audiogram. So after having performed this test, we know how sensitive your client actually is to noise, how well he would understand it noise, although we use a non-language test. After this test, there will be one value, and this value can be imported directly into OasisNXT. Based on this value, we can use this value to personalize the fitting and to pre-calculate all the settings of the Sonic A1 adaptive features. So the higher the score is, the more help your customer would need. ACT is available for Sonic A1, and it actually has been integrated into ExpressFit Pro for Radiant SE. So if you see this feature in ExpressFit Pro 24.1, then you can be aware that it's also available as Radiant SE. But what I mentioned, it is not something you can just do easily. You would need to have the equipment and you would need to have the license to use it. And we will talk about ACT in a special webinar. But how would this look like? You know, you would have, for instance, here you will see ACT, and then after having performed the test, you will see this is almost normal. The client is not sensitive, or the client has severe difficulties. And now this test shows a moderate ACT value, which is dB and 8 dB NCL. And now this value now can be used to pre-adjust the hearing instrument. Okay. Then, before I close this quick session about OasisNXT, I would like to point out another very valuable feature, which is also available now for Sonic A1 hearing instrument. The feature indicates that you can keep the binaural pairing if you only program one hearing instrument. It means you have had a client with two hearing instruments. One instrument has to be sent in for repair. Then only this instrument is returned to you. And now it's very, very easy. You can connect it. It will be an indication that only one instrument is detected, but you can easily now reprogram the setting for the customer. You can load the settings, and then when the customer receives this hearing instrument at home, the binaural coordination will automatically work. So it's no need to call in the customer to your clinic and reprogram both hearing instruments. A very, very nice feature which helps you to really offer even more customer support. Okay. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to quickly make a live fitting of a Sonic A1 hearing instrument. So I do have my hearing instruments here still in the charger. Okay, so I will make sure that I have my Oasis is actually open. Yes, so what I will do, I will now share my screen. Okay. Okay, so can you see my software now? Marielle, can you quickly confirm if the software is visible?
Yes,
Excellent.
software is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. So I here already have the hearing loss from Paula. Um, okay, so we have had a customer. It's actually Paula. She is 57 years old, and she has had a hearing loss for quite a long time. But until now, Paula did not really want to have hearing instruments because she did not want to be the person using a hearing instrument. So actually, Paula now, because she is a very busy business person, she is a manager of a company. So she needs now a hearing instrument. She is very sporty. She loves listening to music. And therefore, she has now also decided, yes, now it's time for a hearing instrument. So let's see. I will have already indicated the audiogram. Now I will do a new fitting. Okay, so now this is the first page of Oasis Next for Sonic. So I do have the instruments still in the charger. I would like to point out the first step, which we are going to do. So I have already prepared the instruments. I have selected the appropriate speaker length and speaker for Paula, and the instrument is ready to fit. First of all, we select the fitting rationale. I will select fit NL because it's the first hearing instrument, and we will try how the sound is, and we will probably not need that much amplification for the first fit. So I will now detect the hearing instruments. As I mentioned, the hearing instruments right now, they are still in the charger. Take them. Okay, I take them out of the charger because I should have activated them quickly before. Okay, now I hear something beeping, so the instruments are being detected. Okay, now you see, based on the speaker, it has detected the right and the left hearing instruments, and I can now continue with the detection. So we will make a new fitting. It's identifying now the length of the hearing instrument, the speaker size. Okay, now you see already what we do have connected. We have attached receiver length number 2, speaker 85. So the hearing instrument is now connected. The instruments are charged 100%. So we can already now start with the fitting. I will select personalization because it are the first hearing instruments for Paula, and the personalization will already give me some hints how actually Paula feels without hearing instruments. So we have the 5 questions. Without instruments, how often are you distracted by noise during a conversation? Yes, she's often distracted. Without the instruments, how often do you join subtle details when listening to music? Well, actually, music is still working fine. Without the instruments, how often do you avoid unknown listening sessions? Yes, now I start to avoid it more often. How often can you focus on a task in a noisy environment? Well, yes, I can still focus, but sometimes I still get difficulties. And without the instrument, how often are you annoyed by unexpected sudden sounds? Well, yes. Well, lately she experienced that sounds got very, very uncomfortable. So also this has become a bit more frequent. So, okay, we have now already finished the questionnaire. Now, when we are in fitting, we can go to adaptation, and we want now to check the basic sound of the hearing instrument. Adaptation right now is at 80%, which is also the default. So I will have a conversation with Paula, and Paula will tell me how the sound of the hearing instrument is. Now, we have different choices. Either I can use the automatic gain adaptation so that the amplification will adjust gradually. But I think I prefer to see Paula again personally in maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So if Paula says the sound could be a bit stronger, I may be trying with 90%, and then in the main sound quality has already been defined. You can also make some noises. You can make some noises with paper to see how Paula feels. And if she is happy with the sound, there is no need to go to further fine tuning at this point. Otherwise, yes, there is also the amplification section where you can adjust all the individual bands independently. So Paula, she loves music. So what we would like to do, we would like to offer Paula the great music program. As we know that Sonic A1 has the special music program, which has been developed based on a specific rationale, ideal for music to provide this music dynamics. So if we go to the program assignment, assigned programs. So here you will see all the listening programs which are available for Sonic A1. And you will see that the music program has been called Music Experience. So Music Experience is the new program, including this special appropriate music rationale to enjoy music every moment, streaming, live music, listening to music at home. So that's the new music experience. Then just would like to have a quick look at the features section, although right now um, we do not need to modify the features. Basically, the features can be modified when Paula comes back and she has made her first experience with the hearing instruments. And then I recommend in a follow-up session, use the fitting assistant to make any fine-tuning. So, but I would like to have a look at the program specific features. So we see that the motion sensor is active, and in the noise management area, we see that all the features which have a target are the features which have been based on the questionnaire, which are not default settings. Otherwise, now all the settings would be on medium, and with the personalization questionnaire, we already have a great personalization of the first fit. So basically, we can already go to the end session. If we look at the controls, we see as a default volume control is deactivated, program change is active. Paula wants to use the app to control the hearing instrument, and she prefers that all the controls are actually deactivated, so I can also deactivate program change on the hearing instrument. So the shutdown is always active. And then we can also activate, turn on, remember volume settings, which gives Paula the opportunity, if she's using the app and she may adjust the volume of the first program and then switch into the music program, that the adjustment of the first program is always remembered and would not go back to the default. Then let's have a quick look to call controls. Yes, of course, Paula is a very modern person and she wants to use her phone to answer calls. So the button controls are active. So she still can use the buttons if she would like to accept some phone calls, or also the use tap control. Just quickly tapping on the shell of the hearing instrument will also allow her to answer or terminate or reject phone calls. So this we also have active. Then we can demonstrate the indicators, see which indicators she would like to use. Batteries is okay, and then we are already in the save and quit menu. In the save and quit menu, we have a nice overview of the programs we have assigned. We see the hearing instrument, serial number, firmware number as well, so we know exactly what firmware the instrument have. Data logging is active as a default. However, what is not active as a default is conversation tracking in data logging. Maybe you remember that with Radiant SE, we have introduced a conversation tracking, and this feature is also available in Sonic A1. Of course, data logging is mainly very valuable if we can see the progress the customer makes in talking to other people. So, but the client also, he has to consent if you are allowed to use this option. So ask the client if he agrees that we would track this conversation activity. So we hope that the client would agree, then we can take it. But we can also make sure that we cannot track what he says, of course, but we can track how often he talks. And then already we can go to save and quit, end session, and you have seen in a few clicks, Sonic A1 is actually fit. So you will see not at all more difficult that you are already used to. Okay. So with this, I would like to go back to the presentation. Just loading again my presentation. You see, I will go to the slide where we actually stop. All right. So now the last part of this webinar, I would like to introduce to you the new Sonic RemoteLink 2 app. New, it has a new user interface, but you will see that so many features are identical if the client has maybe used a previous Sonic instrument and he was very familiar with the previous Sonic apps. So, but it looks very, very nice. It looks very friendly, and it's also extremely easy to use. Yes, with the new app, with the RemoteLink 2 app, we can really put all the controls of the hearing instruments in the hand of the hearing aid user. He is so on a very discreet way. He can modify program. He can modify the volume. He can access remote support as well if he's needed, so he can still do remote fitting sessions. Uh, and there is also the statistics where the client can preset a goal and then track the progress he is actually doing with using his hearing aids. So yes, we also see from all statistics and inquiries we do that today the RemoteLink app is getting very, very important for the hearing aid user. A hearing aid solution is only complete if it also has the app. You can find RemoteLink 2 app if you search for just RemoteLink, and then you will find RemoteLink 2. It will be popping up. You can download it for iPhone. What you need is iOS 15 or later, or you can also download it for Android. Minimum version is operating system 8 or later. For the time being, the RemoteLink 2 app is compatible with Sonic A1 instruments only. So with previous hearing instruments, clients still require the SoundLink 3 app. The RemoteLink 2 app is also compatible for Apple Watch. So there is also an Apple app. If your customer would like to use it with the Apple Watch, he would need to have iOS 15 or later and Apple Watch Series 5 or later, and with Android operating system 8 or later. So even now, the client can make very convenient use of his hearing instruments from his Apple Watch, and the basic controls like making phone calls, changing programs, changing volumes are also available now with the Apple Watch. What are the highlights of the RemoteLink 2 app? So, of course, very, very basic is the program change. We have 1 or 2 slides to program. We can have adjust the volume. Tinnitus relief is available as well. So you can change tinnitus sound, or you can change the sound of the environment. Remember, volume setting is available. So which means if the hearing care professional has not activated it in the software, the client has possibility to activate it in the app. Then we have the 2 equalizers. Now we have the sound equalizer, where the customer can fine tune the low, mid, and high frequencies of the basic listening programs, be it the dynamic program, conversation noise, all the listening programs, or he also has the streaming equalizer to modify the low, mid, and high frequency of any programs during streaming, TVA, phone, sound clip, using all the wireless accessories. Find My Hearing Aids is also included. Now, we do have My Daily Hearing available in the previous app, in the SoundLink 3 app. My Daily Hearing was actually called Hearing Data, but it is the same. So the idea is that the client can set daily user time for wearing his hearing instruments, and then he can receive information how is progressing. And there are various statistics. There are daily, monthly, weekly, and yearly statistics where he can really see the progress when using his hearing instruments. Then what I already mentioned, we do have the Apple Watch connection. We do have the battery level status, which indicates how much the battery actually is charged. So for the rechargeable Sonic A1, it will indicate also how many hours the battery will still be charged, besides the percentage of the charge. And now there is also charging status. So we will see when the instrument is in the charger, then there is also a bar indicating that the instruments are currently charging. Of course, remote fitting is available. Hearing aid updates, it's still possible to do minor hearing aid updates with the RemoteLink 2 app. And we have this big troubleshooting and support section indicating what to do in case the instrument does not connect, if there are issues with the TVA. All this section is actually there. I just would like to highlight, of course, remote fitting is available. The process is identical for Sonic A1 user as it is for other users. And I would like to point out, if the client has already had an account in SoundLink 3, so if he has used remote sessions before, then he can still use the same account. So no need to create a new account. He can log in with the identical account. Basically, there are only a few features which are exclusive for Sonic A1, which you have not experienced with the previous instruments. And these are actually the charging status, and then there would be some notification if the client is using My Daily Hearing. Now there would be a lot of different notifications the client can activate or deactivate. There is a new notification section, and there is a new menu where now the customer can activate answer calls faster in case the hearing care professional has not activated it in the end session screen of OasisNXT. Just a brief overview of this charging status and what it actually, how it would look like. So you will see there will be a bar popping up, hearing instruments are charging, and you will see the volume sliders will be deactivated, and here you have this icon indicating that the hearing instruments are actually currently charging. It's also visible in other menus. So it's actually, if you see the battery level status, while the instruments are charging, then there will be an indicate the instruments charging. When the instruments have finished charging, then there will be a message fully charged, and then the hearing aid user knows they are now ready to connect it again. And again, in the sound menu, yes, while they are charging, there will be a bar charging hearing aids. And when they have finished, the bar will turn to green with the indication hearing aids are charged now and they can be used. They are ready to be used. So it's really great that now we can detect the hearing instrument even during remote fitting if they are still in the charger. So which means if you connect to your customer and in the beginning maybe you see that the instruments have a low charge, so you can tell the customer that he can put them in the charger, and maybe while you are preparing for the session they can get an additional charge. However, you must bear in mind, while the instruments are in the charger, then the hearing aid user, he cannot hear through the instrument, so he would need to communicate through the app. And then, of course, only when the instruments are removed from the charger and he's wearing them, the instruments are ready to be fully programmed. Just quickly about the new notification section, which we will see in the RemoteLink 2 app. So in more, we will now see notification, and there are now notifications for battery and hearing aids, and all these notifications for my daily hearing. So there are a number of notifications available, which can be switched on or which can be switched off. So if the hearing aid user gets too many notifications all of a sudden, he can also switch them off. But the notifications are always a reminder to use the daily hearing. And then also, yes, in the battery notification, we do have notification that the battery indicator can be activated at special levels, with its 25, 20, or 10%. All this can be activated or deactivated. Just small reminder for the My Daily Hearing. If you receive all these notification about the data collection, it's important, if you use My Daily Hearing, that the client connects the hearing instrument regularly to the app. Because, of course, if they are not regularly synchronized, then the app can also not provide any helpful statistics. Therefore, there will also be a reminder, try to connect the hearing instrument regularly in order to get reliable data. And last but not least, we have seen this great option now that if the client has connected the hearing instrument to his smartphone, it's possible that only with a small tap, the phone actually can be, or the call can be answered or rejected. This option is turned on by default. As we have seen, it's possible to disable it either in the software or in the app. So which means if the client has activated in the app and the hearing care professional did not activate it, then also when connecting the hearing instruments to OasisNXT, a message will appear, settings change, that now tap control is on. This happens every time when the hearing aid user activates any option which has not been activated by the hearing care professional in the software, so that the hearing care professional knows that now this option has been activated. Which already leads me to the end of what I wanted to present for Sonic A1. So basically you have seen there are so many features you are already familiar with from the SoundLink 3 app, and the new options for Sonic A1 is the charging status, then that you can do remote fitting while the instruments are charging. You have this answer calls faster, that the client now he can activate it in the RemoteLink 2, and you have this number of hearing aid notifications. Okay, so we are a bit, I think we are a bit ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now I will take over. Do you have anything else to say, Christina? I'm now in the same office as you can see.
Yes. Thank you very much for joining me, Mario.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay. Okay. Now let's see if there have been any questions.
All right. So thank you, Christina. Wasn't that a great presentation, guys? And yeah, thank you so much for showing us the new software and the app and how to use it to get the most of our Sonic A1 hearing instruments. Moving on to the question and answer. So for the first one, let me take a look at the question, and it is, how can you stop the hearing the sound of the service check mode? So as you know, the service check mode is a beep, which is 8 beeps. So toot, 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 and that is repeated 4 times. And usually, if the instruments detect a hardware failure, that is the time that the service check mode turns on. So that means that you, the hearing care professional, should actually take the hearing aids and send it for cleaning or repairing, because usually this service check issue happens, it starts beeping when there's actually an issue with one or both microphones. Either they are blocked or they need to be replaced. So they will hear this when they turn on the hearing aid. It will stop beeping after this 8 times 4 beeps, so 32 beeps all in all. But every time the customer turns the hearing aid on, they will always hear this. So just send it in for cleaning or servicing. Okay?
Correct. Yes, it cannot be deactivated because it is an alert that something is actually wrong with the hearing instrument. Yes.
Yes, correct. So the second question is, should we add programs for environments like restaurant or classroom so that the motion sensor will work? Or it's not necessary to add these programs for the motion sensor to work? Thank you for that question. It's actually a very good question. So as you know, the motion sensor is available in 2 programs. The first one is in a dynamic program. So that's the first program where the motion sensor is always on. And the second program where the motion sensor is active is also in the conversation in noise program. So Smart Sensor by default is already activated in dynamic program, but if you choose conversation in noise program, you actually need to change the directionality into dynamic directionality before you can see motion sensor in the software. So by default, it's not on, but that option will be available in the conversation and noise program if you change the directionality from a fixed adaptive to dynamic. All right. And also in some cases where you have a client who have unusual head and body movements. So for example, Parkinson's, where they are just moving involuntarily and you cannot really rely on this head movement, then it might be a good decision to turn it off in case you have a client with this kind of neurological issues. And then we have the next question. Can we fit Radiant, Enchant, Captivate, and Trek with the Oasis program? So the answer is unfortunately no. You cannot fit other Sonic hearing aid families in the OasisNXT, only Sonic A1. And I know it might not be the answer you want to hear because it's not the most convenient, but the good news is you can have OasisNXT installed at the same time as ExpressFit Pro on your laptop. So depending on what you want to fit, you can just open that software and proceed with the fitting. Okay?
Yeah, correct.
And then the next question is tap hearing aid works just to answer call, or it is also used to decline a call. Yes, you are correct. You can actually use this tap call control to answer and decline or finish a call. So you need to practice because I tried doing it a few times. Maybe the first time it doesn't really work. So, but the more you do it, the more you get used to the movement. And then tap control really works very well, sometimes accidentally even. So
Correct.
you have to practice. Next question. I apologize if we missed it, but my question is, when will we be able to order the new models of devices, and when will the old ones be discontinued? Okay, since this varies on a case-to-case basis, depending on the market, I suggest you reach out to your regional sales director. He or she should be able to give you a good answer regarding this, okay? Last question. Does my remote app work with another brand like Radiant? So I'm not sure what remote app you are referring to. Is this the RemoteLink 2 you are referring to? So if you are referring to the new RemoteLink 2 app, then it doesn't work with the other Sonic hearing aid families, only Sonic A1. If you are using Trek, Radiant, Enchant, Radiant SE, then you have to use the Sonic, I believe it's SoundLink 3
SoundLink
app.
3. Yes, correct. SoundLink 3. Yes. Well, there was the idea maybe in future to integrate them all into the new Remote Link 2 app, but for the time being, in order not to delay the whole launch, so you will need to use the SoundLink 3 for all the previous instruments. Yes.
And yeah, thank you, Christina. So guys, you are amazing. Thank you so much for the questions. You know, it keeps me awake. Okay, so get ready with your phone to scan the QR code on the next slide. I'm very happy to tell you that for the last quiz, a lot of you actually got most of the questions correct. And so many people participated, which is, even I was surprised, honestly. So you guys are really awesome. So the quiz takes around 5 to 10 minutes. And the good thing here is it will actually help you review and remember what you have learned from Christina in today's session. So this is really good. And then here is the QR code for the second quiz. So remember, whoever gets the highest score at the end of the year in all of the quizzes will win the coolest prize ever in Sonic history, and that is a pair of Sonic A1 100 hearing aids and the charger, don't forget that. So once you scan, again, click on Start when you're ready to answer. But if you want to answer the quiz later, just make sure that you have the QR code with you to answer later. Okay, so with that, Christina, would you like to say anything else before we conclude the presentation?
No, thank you very much. I thank you very much all to be here, and we also hope that, of course, in future you will be with us. So we will invite you for some additional webinars, and I have played around with the software. I have played around with the app, and I really think you are already so experienced with the Sonic brand. It will absolutely be no difficult now to transition to a new software version, because it is actually very, very easy to use. And since we are introducing also a brand new product with really great, fascinating new technologies, I think it's also not a big issue, to also introduce the new app to your hearing aid, users. So yes, we wish you good luck. We hope that you can start selling Sonic A1 soon. And for any kind of questions which you may have, we are always here for you.
Thank you. So with that, I would like to conclude the presentation. I know everyone is busy in the clinic or office, and after sitting down for 90 minutes, I'm sure your body would like to stand up and move around a bit. We thank you for your time and attending today's session. So I leave this slide on for the next 10 minutes so you can answer the quiz at your own pace. You will see in the chat box that I have actually included the link to download OasisNXT and also the installation code if you are installing it for the first time. All right, so you can just look at the chat box, you'll see that. And then, yeah, we have a catch-up question. Sonic A1 just MNR style, correct? It's only available in the rechargeable mini right style. Okay, so with that, thank you everyone. I wish you all a
Well,
good day.
thank you for joining today. Have a wonderful weekend and see you soon again.
Bye.
Bye.